I'm Jeff Hirsch. I'm a professor at the University of North Carolina School of Law.
And I'm Paul Secunda. I'm a professor at Marquette University Law School, and we will be talking about our labor law book. I've been teaching labor law for almost 10 years now, and I'm a big fan of the other books on the market. However, I have received feedback from students that they felt that some case books were either too long, too dense, or too case heavy. So our idea was to come up with a case book that was literally lighter to carry around, but also had the ability to get students engaged interactively with materials on the web, in the government websites, and with various types of periodicals, law reviews, and other sources that young associates in law firms and in other areas of practice use to research labor problems.
We also felt that some of the other books perhaps felt a bit dated. So one of the things we really worked hard at was trying to keep the book up to date. We use a lot of more current issues as the basis for a lot of our hypotheticals, and also many sort of recent law review articles and cases, again, to keep things fresher and more in line with what's actually occurring in the world today.
I acted as a labor and employment associate at two large law firms in the Philadelphia area. So initially, my background is from the management side, and I've always felt that it's important to have good attorneys advising employers about how best to interact with unions and their employees on workplace and labor relation matters. More recently, as I've been in academia, I've also taken on the neutral role, have served as an arbitrator, have served as a mediator, and so I've looked at ways of engaging in alternative forms of dispute resolution to solve common labor problems. So I think that perspective is seen throughout the book right now.
I spent several years as an attorney at the National Labor Relations Board, so I've seen, obviously from the neutral regulatory standpoint, many of these issues, as well as some of the background material, really showing how the NLRB functions, how it works.
As far as my academic career is concerned, I've spent a lot of time thinking about labor law issues. Most recently, the future of the Wagner model of labor relations and whether it has a future in this country and in Canada. We have been looking, both Jeff and I, at other countries for ideas and for models that might provide a better way of increasing worker voice and participation in the American economy of the 21st century.
Well, we try to provide a clear roadmap for students so they could understand the materials. We try to give an introductory section that actually provides some explanation rather than simply throwing them into materials without any background. We also, one of the key features of our book is to start with a problem, which makes them understand why these issues are important, how they might actually work, and provides a better framework for them to actually understand what's going on when we then move to the actual problem materials, whether they be cases, or we also have added a lot more law review articles as well as primary sources, for instance, memoranda from the NLRB and other materials like that. The idea was in the hope that actually students would have a better way and a better ability to actually understand what is often a very complex and foreign subject of law for them.
What we've tried to do is make our book as interactive as possible. We've put a lot of hyperlinks, jump links that go right to the web, whether it be to the nlrb.gov website, whether it be to the blog that Jeff and I co-edit with some other professors, the Workplace Prof blog, increasingly to the Twitter and various tweets that talk about new and timely labor law developments. So even if it's something that has only happened in the last 2 or 3 years, it's going to be discussed. The book is up to date to the very most recent controversies that have occurred with the National Labor Relations Board and with some of the various rules that they've looked to promulgate. And the students will be able to use our book as a jumping off point to go to the web and do further research, and maybe even after their introductory labor law course is done, to do further research on their own.
Among the topics that we cover are For instance, the organization and workings of the National Labor Relations Board. So I draw on a lot of my experience as a board attorney to explain exactly how the board is structured, how it decides cases, promulgates rules. Right? We also talk a lot about the jurisdictional matters. So for instance, some of the more popular topics lately are whether employees are supervisors who might be excluded from the Act, or for instance, a topic that's going on right now, whether or not graduate students can actually organize. Right? Those are some of the more up-to-date and matters that we try to make sure to address. We also do some of the more basic primary things you think about when you consider labor law violations, such as discrimination against employees who might be trying to exercise their rights under the Act. So for instance, one of the problems we use is based on the Boeing case, which of course was quite a big deal, right? And again, that we use those types of problems and hypotheticals to then draw students to understand exactly how to apply the law, as well as the sort of complicated considerations you have to deal with when you decide whether or not you're going to find a violation in a certain situation.
Additionally, we try to also cover some more advanced topics. One would be labor law preemption, the relationship between the federal labor law and state labor law, and whether or not states have the ability to engage in labor law reform. We talk about the rights of individual union members within their unions. Sometimes they're unhappy with how they're being represented by their union. Can they bring something called a duty of fair representation claim? And finally, we also cover what a lot of people think about when they think about unions, which are the weapons that the parties use against one another. The strikes, the lockouts, the boycotts, the pickets, and there's a just tremendous amount of law within the National Labor Relations Act that talks about when you can strike, when you can lock out, when can you and can't you engage in a picket for recognition or for the purposes of organizing a union. These are all complicated topics. What we do is we bring problem material to bear to make the topics more readily understood by the students. We bring in materials from the actual government organizations. We bring in some law review excerpts. And our hope is that, like a young associate who's looking to research these problems, when asked by a partner or whoever is their supervisor, they will have the materials at their fingertips to consider when deciding what's the best answer to some of these difficult questions. Well, we hope people will consider our book for adoption in the upcoming semesters. We hope that it will be useful for both the introductory labor law course as well as the advanced labor law courses that you teach.
And if you have any questions about the best way to integrate or use this book in your classroom, we'd love to hear from you, so feel free to contact us.